Carol here. Warm welcome to my craft room once again. Watercoloring for beginners. And here I'm going to use this after I move my Coca-Cola. I'm going to use this wonderful container that lets out fresh water, pushes it up into the well, pushes the dirty water down. It's fantastic. And then the vintage embossing folder. This is what I'm going to use to put my image on from Dove Art Studios. I love this. I've never used this bird with her little newborn birdies in the nest. I've never used it before, and of course, shopping in my stash trying to use up things that I haven't used up before. If that makes any sense to you. Yeah. So here we go. Now, I don't know why I'm opening up the pan case, but I guess I couldn't take it out and let the edit run nicely. So I'll just show you that the Altenew paint case is available. You can get it in a set. That's how I bought this, but I've never used it before. So I thought, why not now get some watercoloring in? It's very relaxing to watercolor. And I'm no professional. I just love to watercolor. That's it. And I just spray down the colors I'm going to use with a mister. And yeah. That way I don't have to run my brush back and forth all the time trying to get it wet. It's already pre-wet. I'll use my stamp press for the stamp, and I'm just going to show you a few things that helped me to color this bird. Look how thick that acetate is. Oh yeah, I'm going to use that too, because I can bring the paint over to me when I'm painting if I put it on there. And then I'll take out the vintage flower embossing folder. I decided to use the Bristol Smooth, but I'll show you there is the Canson Bristol 96 pound. This is gargantuous. I mean, you can cut this down. It's a wonderful paper. I like it. And then I'm going to use this one, the Bristol Smooth 100 pound. I really loved this paper. There's the Strathmore watercolor 100 pound and also in the 140 pound watercolor. And these are the four I really enjoy using when I do get a chance to watercolor. I don't get a chance much for some reason, but I want to do it more often because of the relaxation. Excuse me. Oh, at least he's walking across this clean paper, right? This is the Botanical Border die. It's a vintage border die. It's called, I think I put it up there, the Vintage Tea Party Botanical Border. And it is a signature collection by Sarah Davies. So you can, I will put the link to this because I think it's still available. And then I was looking through my little mini distress inks just to stamp it down. I'm going to show you a few things that really help me when I'm watercoloring. And I couldn't see that. I know you couldn't either. But I think it's tea stain. Just a light brown. That's what I wanted to get out. Kind of like a no watercolor. And then I'm zooming in. I wanted to get a firm but yet detailed water brush to start out. Now I'm going to end up using 3 different brushes. I'm going to use one that's a 0/10, 10, and then I am going to use the water brush, like a detailed water brush for the firmness of it to get in tight spots. And then I'm going to move over to 2 other sizes and I'll post those when I get to it. Now, isn't that a beautiful embossed image with all the flowers? Yes, I love it. I'll show you a few things that I used that was very helpful. The tea stain being very light, I went over it just on the places that I wanted to showcase a light brown. You know, the colors I'll tap off. That's why I like the water brush, because I can remove some of the ink, yet put it, on the places. It's quite light, but yet it does give me an idea of the color I want to put down. Now, I didn't want to do it in black. I didn't want to have a black edge. I wanted to put the black edge in myself. So the lines that I want in this image, I will put them down. But for now, just to move the color around, to give me some ideas on watercoloring. Isn't this so pretty? I love the little newborn birdies in the nest and the mama bird feeding them a worm. So cute. I really did like it. And then I think it is tea stain. I'm going to show you some of the colors. I obviously used some blues. That's what I'm using here. That was really quick, but I'll go back and look at that and post it for you. I just am wanting to get this voiceover finished, so I didn't want to get up and get all those colors out. Sorry. Yeah, and you can see how nice it is, isn't it? Like, to use the Bristol Smooth is really nice. Oh, look at forest moss. We got to see that. So where the greens are, that would be the leaves. I put that in, and the distressings are nice to move around. I really like those. Just to start out with, because we are going to move over to the Altenew watercolor set because I've never used those before. Now I'm going to wipe it down, and you can see that I have the majority of the outline of what I want to work with. So I placed some of the browns down here to get more intense color, and this is from the Altenew set. I'm trying to see what shades this puts down onto my Bristol Smooth first. So I'm not going to the paper. I'm going to do the little wee baby birds and stamp them down. Now, whether you use a platform and open the door and use a platform, I am going to water it a bit because I haven't started to watercolor. This is, to me, it's giving me the base. This is just the base for me to work with, and I really do like that. Instead of kind of putting the black down or a dark, dark color and getting all the intense outside edges, I didn't want that. If I want black or dark edges, I'm going to put them in myself. Yeah. I know it sounds crazy, but I love to work like this when I watercolor. It is a nice, unless you really want those edges, you can put them in. So here I'm mixing it up. There's the stamp. It's called Feeding Time by Dove Art Studio. And I'm going to start coloring. Now, I really struggled whether to put it in high speed for you. But, sometimes I like to sit and relax and watch somebody watercolor. I'm showing you that this is a nice, thick, yet detailed brush. I'm going to get out the 110 brush here also because I'm looking for just a nice fine brush. I don't care who makes it, whatever. That's not important to me as long as it works, I do take out the short black velvet brushes. I do use, and I'm having a treat, but only showing you this because I want you to see. For the water, for a porcelain bowl. I got this bowl at the dollar store where nothing's a dollar for $1.25. See, I'm trying to show you there. Maybe it says $1.50. No, $1.25. Woohoo! Yes, you can see that I haven't put it through the dishwasher. I don't even, well, I had to wash it because I put my cookies in there. Yeah. But anyway, at the dollar store, look for them. They're, if you're looking for porcelain, and you want to use it for your water. Believe it or not, I have that filled with water. I have my 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, my 8 container porcelain thingy that I filled completely. So I have 10 wells of clean water. Then I have that huge bucket of water there that seeps down in and always keeps it fresh. I use that too. I don't like to keep getting up, and I don't like using dirty water continually, I really don't. I like it to be clean. Then I know what pure color I'm using all the time. Hope you don't mind that it's at a little slower pace. I know it's a long tutorial again. Boy, I'm really getting up there. I can't wait to hit the 2-hour mark. Just kidding ya. I think I'm going to get there though. You can see this 1/10. I'm pretty sure that's, I tell you, I'm not a professional watercolorist, which you can tell as I get going. You know what I do? I have a passion for watercoloring, and I don't do it enough. I love to color with any medium. You know that. I try to get in quite a different variety to show you how I like to color. So here we go. I'm trying to get it so that I stay in the frame and explain a few things on the way. Now, on the back feathers, when you look at the package, and we will get back to the package, you'll see that it has the separate little feathers, and they are quite dark. But in between them, you're going to notice that it has a light hue of blue. Isn't that pretty? A light hue of blue. Can't even say it right. A light hue of blue. And I'm going to show you how I managed to work with black. You know, you can really mess up a project with watercoloring, putting too much black out right away. So I use my heat gun quite a bit as I am coloring because I don't want any of this. You know, I can make mistakes on my own without having to really, you know, purposefully make them, if you know what I mean, right? So here we go. Once my big thumb gets out of the way, I'll show you here. And it's nice to be able to put, I love working in blues. Right away, I'll tell you that right now. I love blue. And there's so many different hues of blue. And, you know, in this set, you can mix it up to whatever blue you want. And you'll see that I do that too. But I wanted to make sure that it was very detailed as far as the feathers, getting that, I tried to get in as much as possible. But you know that navy is nice to work with too if you don't want to use black and you're there we go, I'm zooming in. You can see on the edges I added a little bit of a dark brown. That's what it looks like black, but it's not. If you compare it to the black there, it's dark brown, just to give a little hint of wispy feathers on the upper tail end there. And you can see the beautiful botanical set there. Isn't that gorgeous? The emboss on it. And now, as I'm going up here, so many things happen. Like I dropped my, you'll see it, I dropped my paintbrush, and yes, and paint was all over, but I showed you how to remedy that too. Everything to me is fixable. You know, I don't like to throw anything out or get too discouraged. I'll just walk away and come back. So here I'm brightening up the blues. This bird does not, it's not exact, okay? I did make the bird a tad bigger, and the reason for that is I didn't use a stamp press so that the image was always in the same spot. I used the press where I'm pushing down because I could pretty well tell where my stamp was going to land. And if it didn't land in the right spot, it was a little off, as you can see here. I just made some little light feather marks. And yeah, just fake your way out. I mean, hello, it's a birdie. You know, you don't need precision, I don't think. I didn't want it on here. I just wanted to relax. And there is the number 4 black velvet brush that I am using. And yeah, and it's a short round, by the way. So here we go. I'm going back in with this nice used, I got this paintbrush at Michael's, and it is very well used. It's a lovely, lovely detailed brush. But like I said, so are watercolor brushes because the bristles are nice and tight and you can get in those little places. So here I'll let it dry and I'll go back because I want to have all of those really detailed lines in there of the bird. And as you can see up towards the body, it isn't open like that. Towards the end, you'll see how I fill it in. And I actually use a white, my Signo white pen. And I'm going to show you that too, how you can make some nice contrast when you're watercoloring. And this stamp, I can't believe I've had this stamp for a few years. I can't believe I haven't used it. I have this drawer in my craft room and it's full of stamps I haven't used, stamp collections. And this was, I ordered this, I think it was on the LDRS Creative Store actually. I'm pretty sure, even though it's Dove Art Studio, I'll check it out and leave it in the link because I don't want to say it is. Let's get going here. So I added quite a bit of water here. When I did the tail feathers, I made sure that only the tip of the brush had water in it so that I had control. But here I wanted to use a lot of blues and I wanted to have, yeah, to just let them wick, just push out the color. And that is just adding more water than you do the color and let it wick out and dry wherever it wants to dry. then you can have control on it because you can stop it at any given place with a larger paintbrush. And yeah, this is just my thoughts, by the way. Yes, good night. I haven't had any formal training. You'll see that too. This is just fun for me, and I want to make it so it's fun for you, that you don't have to feel like you have to have all these courses or take all these courses. You just have to follow the lines and put an image in front of you and have some fun with it. Now here the eye was too dark. You'll see that I have to lighten that up, but I'm not going to let it bother me right now. I'm going to paint around it and push that black out. Yes, see how I push it out to a gray, because I do want gray in the eye, like right up in there. And I add some mauve as well. I do mix two colors to get a really nice soft. It was a baby blue and a purple to get a soft mauve underneath. You know, when I either use pencil crayons or Copics, watercolor, whatever medium, I like to get a base. This will not be the color that it ends up at the end. This is just setting a base for me to see, okay, this actually looks like a bird. Yeah, that's my plan of attack. Let's get this thing looking like a bird. And yeah, and you can tell I am just literally enjoying the process. And whatever you go after that you're creating in your art, let me just encourage you to enjoy the process. If you get frustrated, stop and do something else and come back, because you will, you know, you'll pick up where you left off and it won't be that frustrating to you. Now here you can see I'm going towards a more of a sky blue. I'm putting in some of that mauve. Like I said, I'm going to match it up into the feathers if I like the color. And yeah, and then I think I'll pat this out, you know, just to get the underlying colors, because I don't know what I like yet. So I'm going to, yeah, take my paw there and take a paper towel and press some of that water out and then stare at it a good while, so I can make this bird my own. You know, there's you know, there's no set way of doing anything. Everybody colors the way they feel comfortable, I think. You know, that's what, there it is. Oh, wasn't that great? I was taking it over to the water well. That's another thing I don't do. I should have that water well thing to the right, but I have so many water thingies all over the place. But look at, I'm going to put clouds on the background. That's going to be my background, is clouds. So whether I pick it up, it didn't matter, but I thought, oh, I'll do my best and get it off there for now so I can concentrate and it doesn't make me cross-eyed, you know, always looking at the mistake. But I just left it that, you know, wick out like that and dry. You can hardly see it, and with clouds in the background, it's perfect. It doesn't bother me at all. You can see that I did do an outline on the wings so I could see where I had to work. And I'll keep going back. Oh my, I work with every part of this until I get the right color blue, until I get the proper amount of water on it, because I do love to let the color wick out and get those lines, especially if you're dealing with wings. You know, they have so many separate entities, you know, separate little wings, feathers. That's what it is, feathers, Carol. And yeah, I had to cut portions of it out, obviously, but I tried to keep in enough so you could see how I work, as far as taking my time and going back when you're working with white. You can always add. You don't want to put too much of it down, but you can correct too much black, and I'll show you that with the Signo white pen, the gel pen, how I actually moved some of the black out so that I could get some of the detailed feathering in there. And my hand will stop at different times just to see if it compares to the actual stamp. You know, if there's something else I need to widen, let's say, like the breast of the bird. We haven't put that in. We haven't put any color in, so it does look like it's quite a skinny bird there, doesn't it? But it'll all come into place. Here comes the purple. I'll add some intense purple and move it around, and then I'll add some blue. And it's just mainly to get a sense of the colors that I want, because the blue, when you're working on white paper, it will, you know, the color, I'm trying to really explain to you that you'll know when to stop. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Like when you get the proper hues in here of the colors you want, I very seldom have ever, nothing has ever turned out like the package. And it shouldn't, because I didn't color the package and it's not my design. It's Dove Art Studio design, and I like to make things my own. And how am I going to grow, you know, as a colorist, like to watercolor without making some mistakes and trying to correct them? And, you know, the old practice makes perfect. I don't think it does make perfect, but they say that. I think there's always room for growth. And yeah, that's why I don't let things get too frustrating, because I don't paint enough. I love to do it. I love to watch people painting, but you know, I don't do just one thing. If watercoloring was my thing, let me jump in here, talking about things. I put some little dots in certain areas, and here I had too much black, so I'm going to go in with a baby blue just now to cover it. I'm just going to cover that up and go back later. I couldn't stare at that. It was too thick. It wasn't fine enough. And I probably moved it forward because I did feather it out. And we'll move on. I'm mixing some orange, some yellow, some red, and some brown. Right here, you can see it go in there. If you're interested in the colors, just let me know in the comments, and I certainly will go back and try and share how I came about getting the colors. But it's kind of like a, I think of clay. It's that clay color. And now I need to look at the bird. I need to get the breast portion down that was in the actual stamp coloring. And I'm going to add, obviously, some deeper tones underneath where the shade of the bird would be, which is under the wing and under the head. Later on, I need to get those little baby chickies. Their mouths were orange and yellow, and you're going to need those to really stand out at the end. There's an actual beak on this bird. Yeah, here it comes. Here it comes. I struggled with this beak and worm. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. I'm not ashamed to say that, you know, this doesn't come easily. I have to work at it, just as, you know, this is like a beginner's tutorial. I don't want to frustrate anybody to think, you know, that I am a watercolorist. I just like to watercolor, and I will show you my process and how my brain works. And if it helps you, that's fantastic. You know, we all get in those moments where we're sitting there going, okay, let me see, how am I going to get myself out of this? Yeah. If you hear, it's the long weekend here for Hunter, and he wanted to come over and spend some time with the Nan. So if you hear him in the background, that's my little Hunter. And yes, his teachers loved his Valentine bags. Oh, he was so excited to bring them into school. He had his hair all nicely gelled back, and he's kind of got that soldier hairdo, and he just looked so damper. And he brought those in, and his teachers, he couldn't wait to give them to them, and they loved them, he said. When I brought him home, like when I went to his house after he got home, and I asked him, hey, how'd your teachers like it? He said, oh, they really liked it, Nan. So that made me happy and made him happy. Here I'm just putting little dots, little features of little feathers. You know, on the top of the bird, they kind of have these little dot lines. Just my birds. Maybe not your birds, but in my mind they did. And see how I'm going back with the black lines? And now comes the Signal White gel pen. You have to have one of these because this is what will take. This will give you not only the highlights you need, because we're going to add clouds and we're going to color those flowers, the botanical flowers around there, but it will give you the shading. And if you quickly use your finger, you can move that a tad, just a tad. But the Signal pen comes in handy for the eyeball, for getting shading on the top of anything and taking off some of the black. And it separates the feathers, believe it or not. You will see later on, I use it with making the nest because you have a whole lot of twigs, you know. So you need those twigs to not only be separated with color, but it needs to have low lights and highlights and some contrast. And that's what I tried to do. You'll see it on the end. You can cover it with paint. You know, if you put it down and you don't like it, cover it up. That's why it's called paint, right? I think. Yeah, so here we go. I'm working underneath a little bit here, adding some bright colors to the breast. And, you know, you've got the clay color, the dark color, the yellow, whatever you like, I think. And then you can see I put little dots and little lines around the eye. You want to, right now, I did soften that eye up because it's a mama bird. I didn't want her to look this intense. Like, take that worm. What's the matter with you? Eat that worm. No, I wanted a nice soft, a soft mama bird. Yeah, she looks like, you know, I got you a worm. Come on, let's eat it. And then the little birdies are saying, well, can you chew it up? Yeah, so here is... let's move on, right? Here's the twig, and there's another twig that I have to make longer to go out to the edge. This is a 5x7 embossing folder, by the way. So the card base, not the base of the card, but the actual innards right here, the white paper's 5x7, but then I move it out because I think I layer it 4 or 5 layers. So I'm going in with different browns, obviously, because it is a branch, and you'll see me mixing it up there, get the clay color, and then I'll test it out because, and I'm sorry I'm not in frame here. I will get in frame. I don't know if I did this in the edit or what happened here, but I will come back to it, I promise. There we go. You can see that I add greens and oranges to the branches as an undercolor. And I realized, you know, they can't be in space like that, Carol. You have to make that a nice thick branch coming out from a tree. So I did fatten it up on the bottom there. I'm going to work with the leaves. Love working with leaves. They're so nice to color because they're just all shades of browns and greens and yellows and whatever you want to add to it. You just add to it. Go back and change it up, add some little lines if you so wish to do. And you can tell with that nest doing the twigs, it was a little challenging, but you know, I love a challenge. See how I did that little curlicue underneath there? I think I left it there. I kind of, yeah. This is just like, you let it dry too, because you always have to remember, yeah, okay. Let me go back. I'm driving myself crazy. I'm probably driving you crazy too. But that's why it's so nice to put a whole lot of undercolors underneath there, because when you pat it, you have a basic color to add more onto it if you want. You know, if you want to keep it soft, that's great too. And always thinking that underneath everything is darker than it is on the top. That will help. And that's what I kind of think of. And look at those little babies. And I'm always going back and forth. If you've watched my channel, Carol, take a breath. Yeah. If you watch my channel, you know I move all over the place. I never seem to concentrate on one thing. I'm always, you know, starting it out and then going back, because with watercolor, it dries so much lighter. And I want to see at the end if I have to add anything more intense to the color, you know. If I have to put different shades on it, or if the shades aren't in the right spot. all of that stuff that I try to think of. I try to think of that I am a watercolorist. Because I'm in my own craft room, I can think that, right? That I know what I'm doing when I don't. I just pretend I do. I think that's what makes it so comfortable, and kind of being comfortable in your own skin, that you realize, you know what, I didn't go to school for this. I watched a few tutorials on watercoloring when I have time, but and I'm always like, oh my, if you watch a tutorial with somebody that really knows what they're doing and they've been schooled or they've had a lot of practice, they don't have to go to school, because there's, Anna Mason, is it Anna Mason? I'm thinking of her. She didn't have any school. She just, wow, her paintings are marvelous. Or paintings, by Sandy Allnock. I try to get in watching some of her tutorials, and her backgrounds are fabulous. There's a lot of people that you love to watch colorists, Kelly Lativola, I like to watch her color. There's just a lot of people that have a natural talent to pick up a paintbrush or a Copic or a crayon, a pencil, whatever, and sit down, and you can tell they enjoy what they're doing. They've had the practice. It takes time. It's like being a mom, it doesn't come right off the bat as soon as the baby's born, it takes, by the time you get it, you've probably had your 8th child. And then, or else all of a sudden they're like 16 and, oh, I think I've got the knack to this. Yeah, and about the 3rd child, I think. But anyway, yeah, I'm being silly, but there is some truth to that, isn't there? So here I just have to remember when I'm coloring that I am going to put a nice background of beautiful colored clouds. I'm going to kind of rainbow it up. Yeah, I think you're going to like it. I really do. And I'm going to show you my way of putting clouds in using a stencil with watercolors. Sometimes it can be difficult, to get that old stencil to work, but I'm going to show you how I do it, and it's so easy. It's so easy, especially if you love the look of that watercolor wicking, where it wicks out and dries with all kinds of edges. I just love it. So here we go. I am putting a dark kind of mossy brown, like this, I think of brown leather boots that have been really used, really worn. I just love that look. And yeah, you go shopping for boots. Excuse me, could I have a pair that are really worn? It's terrible to get a pair of leather anything, and you have to, work it in. It's just like, yeah, let's not go on that, right? I'm not talking about buying boots here. I'm supposed to be showing how I love to watercolor. And I do. I do love to watercolor. And when I watch anybody watercolor, I can tell whether, like, why are they going to put a tutorial up if they don't love it, right? You'd have to love it. It's just something that's very comforting. It's like having an Ovaltine and, let's see, what's a nice comfort food? A cinnamon bun right out of the oven. Ooh, doesn't that sound good? Yes. Hunter and I, we got some, today we got some chips, and oh, here I'm going back to the beak. Now what, I have to stop. I'll tell you what we did for our treats today. Look at that worm. Oh, that worm was disgusting. I did it in black. It was, oh, I can't even tell you. I think I was having a coronary here. Yeah, it's just like, ugh, Carol. But I did have to find out where the worm was, and the worm needed to be separate from the beak. Here it just looks like, where's the beak? It's just this blob of brown and black. But I'll come back to it. I'm going to let it dry, and then we'll come back to it. So we have some taco chips. We haven't got into them. I like to do the taco chips, the multigrain, and then melt the cheese all on it. I put the 3 shredded cheese and then salsa sauce and put it in the oven for a little bit to melt. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. But we've had grilled cheese and ketchup. We're Canadian. We love ketchup on everything. Our French fries, our grilled cheese, our eggs. Yeah, ketchup for me. And my little Hunter Bean, he likes ketchup too, because Nan always has put it on there. Oh, look at that. I'm hopping up to the bird again. Yes, I want to lighten around the beak. That will help you to make the proportions of the beak stand out if you put it really light towards the start of your beak. And then I'm going to put these hard edges in the eyes, and I'm going to go back and soften them out. And I need to put edges in on the mouth because they have lips. They're like little lips. They're so stinking cute. And but now I have to concentrate on the nest. And like I said, this was a challenge to get my nest to have that look of a billion twigs, and to, I don't know, have all the browns a different hue, all different colors of brown. And then I think in the stamp, I don't have it right here, but I'm pretty sure the colorist did the birds in gray. But I wanted my birds to be this musk color brown. You'll see what I mean. I just loved the color. I didn't want to put anything gray in there. And now I'm having a fit over my worm. So you know what I did? I put light blue. I went back to add some contrast to this to soften it so that I could go back and straighten up her beak. And yeah, and then when I got frustrated, I went and did something else. Now you can tell it's very sped up, but yeah, you have to lighten. If you get this stamp, you have to lighten inside those little birds' mouths and darken it as it goes down towards the throat, where it would be darker, right? This is what I think of, you know. Okay, where would the light source be and where wouldn't it be? And oh, here you go. I really jumped in here. I couldn't have it over 2 hours, so I will show you how I did this. You can tell I have greens, I have oranges, I have browns in that nest. I really do. I had to separate the two little fat birds, and what I did was the nesting that's in and about, I just added a different color, and then I lightened up the birds, and you can tell the birds' eyes are shaped. They're both facing in a different direction, right? One is facing more to the mama, and one is facing out more. And yeah, so here we go with the detail. I detail all the twigs in a dark, it's not black, believe it or not, it's a navy and brown mixed together. I had all these colors on my palette, and I just thought, okay, I'll use it because it's not really going to look like this. And at the end, all you want to do is put a whole lot of lines down going in different directions, kind of like hashing it, like hashtags all over the place. That's kind of how I can describe it. Make long ones, short ones, and then we'll work with it with the, we'll separate it. Let me say that, all the little twigs, we'll separate it with different hues of browns and the white signal pen. So here we go. I am going, lift it up, Carol. The way I get that, oh yes, let me tell you this one. What happens when I get excited? I can't separate my words and my thoughts. You know how the baby birds have that little fuzzy feathers? To get that, just add a lot of little tiny lines and dots and wet your color. Put a base of dark and then put water over top, put your paper towel down on it, and it will smooth, it will just, I don't know, see how I'm doing that? I am just smoothing it out. I have the paper towel in my left hand, and I'm working with pouncing that. Yeah, I'm going back with the white signal pen where I see fit because I was getting frustrated there. And when I was doing the eyeballs, I just wanted to take a break. And so I moved up to the bird, I came back down, I separated the eyes so I could see them. And then I'm going to take a pokey tool. I'm going to show you how I do this. I do it all the time. I put the white signal pen down, and you can tell I have all those black lines and brown lines But when I use the pokey tool, I move all that white out so I have the finest detail of white that the pen can't give. It can't give that fine, distinct white edge. So what you do is you just put it down wherever you want the white lines and take your pokey tool and watch what we do after we color over top of it. Watch this. So I'm adding some lines to my little birdies with the dark edge brown because I want them to look like they have some baby feathers and they have some, you know, they're not eating mushed up worms now. She's giving them a great big worm, so they're a little older, and I keep that in mind. So they're going to have some like little feathers, and then they're going to have some mature feathers. How's that? And yeah, I need to act more mature when I do a tutorial, right? This isn't even at night. No, it's 4 o'clock right now. So here we go. See how I'm darkening all of these, the lines we made, like the hashtag lines all over the place. That's how you make nesting. It's a ton and ton and ton of hashtags all over the place. Some long, some short. And then I'm going to come back in once I move this up so you can see it. I actually edited this and left the bottom down. Here I'm making some distinctive lines, you know, where I want the feathers to look a little bit more distinct. I switched to a lighter shade of brown, and you can get this on your own. Darken it up around the bird so the bird stands out. Put dark browns and hues. Whoops, yeah, you'll get more white out if you put it at the right end, Carol. Yeah. Now we're going to jump up to the white of the worm. I can see it there. I can see that it has to go down into this beak. So I put an outline of the beak in white because I am going to take that pokey tool and I'm going to remove that white, but I have to put a layer of color on it. I have to go in with the bright oranges around the outline of the lips and the inner of the mouth. So I want to really orange that up so that I can see it. You'll see me working with this quite a bit. Then at the end, when it's dry, I go in with a light yellow to pop it out. And I'm going to add more white because I know that pokey tool is coming out, and soften up the edges so it doesn't look like I took a pen to it. And I'm going to do it just the same on the feathers on the top. And oh yes, I already did make this longer, right? I know I'm going to cut it off a little bit shorter. See how the paper's extended a little bit? So I know that that's coming off. I like to add a little bit of white into the branch as well. You know, there's nothing wrong. A whole lot of lines, kind of like an old birch tree. And you know me and my birch trees. I just love birch trees. And so whatever it turns out to look like, that's what I'm going to call it at the end. Yeah, I like to put a few knots in there, you know, some rotted out knots where the black is. Yeah, this is just, I don't know, it's just your imagination working as you're working it and trying to get some practice in so that it, you know, a leaf will look like a leaf. And it gives you, let me stop right here. It gives you more practice if you make it like a no-line coloring at the beginning like I showed you, because you're actually drawing it out. Believe it or not, you are the artist. You are making it work because you don't have harsh lines showing you the image. So you're actually coloring that image. Making, in my case, it's bigger, it's larger, let me say that, than the actual stamp. You know, and yeah, here I need to add some distinct marks underneath. I need to darken it out. I want to add some little tiny feather marks. Always be dotting and adding water and picking it up so you get those wick marks like I just showed you. That way in the center you get a bright, you know, that kind of sunlight kissed mark. And keep working it until you think that's exactly what I want. That's the color I want. I'm not going to keep messing with it. I'm going to stop right there. Now, the complicated parts for me was making sure the lips on the little beaks there looked realistic, you know, and it didn't for a time there, so I moved away. I let it dry and I moved away. I wanted this knots in this tree branch. I really wanted it to stand out, yet I need it to be kind of a different color in some aspect than the nest itself, right? But you can tell I like things dark and I like them vivid when I color. I love vivid images. Pale images are nice, but I like my images to be quite dark. Here I'm going to put some intense lines in that one branch, but I'll add water to it. Put my napkin down, paper towel, face cloth, whatever it is you're comfortable using, and pat it out. If you don't like it, water it out. Just add some water, blop it down, pick it up, and start again. There's nothing you can't fix, I'm telling you. But I always tell you, if I can do this stuff, oh yes, blue. Make sure you add some blue tones in your birds. Even though you've got them brown, see that little wing? I added that wing. I don't think there was I don't know, maybe there was a wing there. I don't know. But I put blue undertone because it's going to end up to be a bluebird like its mama. So add some little blue marks so that the low light in your bird is blue. You know, you can have brown feathers and brown little fluffies, but add some blue because eventually these are going to be little bluebirds. Yes. So I'm making a point with my fingers. I want to make a real point on this 1/10, you know, I think it's a 110 paintbrush from Michaels. I'll have to, I can't think of the name of that brush, but I have quite a few of them. And you can see how light, I want to show you the browns are compared to mine. You can see how I like things more vivid but it's wonderful having the painted image already painted for you. And then you can just go from there and then create your own. What you will own it. That's going to be your little painting. And I like that. So you can see it is different. There you go. I wanted you to see where the bright spots are. The different blue hues to this are different. My feathers are darker. Yeah, I'm just patting it out there. And I'm satisfied with that. But I am going to come, there's my pokey tool. I am going to separate the white. I want my white lines to be very fine from the pen. So I went in all of them. I don't know if I don't think I put it all in the edit, but I go back and I am trying to get up close so you can see how I just picked at the white. And then when I was satisfied, I left it alone. You can go back later. I don't know if I do, but right here, I want to work the clouds. So I have this, I think this is an MFT cloud stencil. And we're going to work it. Yeah, so mix up your blues, pinks, yellows, and we're going to go with the number 4 on this. All I want here, okay, let me just say this. I don't want it to seep, but it's not going to matter right here because this is just my darker spot. Go over it and take it out with your paper towel, lift it up, and let's get back at it. See how I just have that little image of where I want this pink, because I don't want any hard edges, but I do want these puffy clouds, and this is how you're going to have to do it if you're working with wet paint, upside down. Let the water run down because you don't want it to run into your stencil, right? I mean, yeah. And I'm going to add blue. That's why I don't mind going over, and I'm going to paint all those flowers so they're not, this is just going to be an undercolor. I'm adding purple here, and then I'll go back with the blues and add the distinct lines of the clouds. I'm going to change that cloud up so that the round portions aren't always in the right spot. You know, the identical spot here, they're going to be different. That's why they make them, all the edges different, you know, scalloped edges, so your clouds look all different. And then I'm going to, here it's purple and blue. I'm going to add that. Then I'm going to go back in with lots of water. lots of water on my brush. And right now, I don't mind working where it's, you know, I'm controlling the water. So it's not going to get out of control. I'm controlling how much I have on this paintbrush, and I'm flicking it up all the time. I already have that wick of the proportion of scallop that I want, but you can correct that. You'll see how I do it. This is what's going to be behind the actual clouds. So now you can see I'm actually, this is, well, obviously it's turquoise. I'm going to push it up because when it dries, I'm going back in with my stencil, and you're going to have those beautiful shapes of these wonderful clouds. And here we go. You're going to lift it up and put it on a slant to get some yellow. You don't want the yellow to go down. I want the yellow to look like the sun is coming from above and giving me some bright sunlight into the clouds. But you'll see all the time I'm working all of these scallops, the shapes. I will go in on my own and I'll make shapes. Look at that. I mean, it doesn't have, the stencil will just give you a boundary of where you want your clouds to be. You can change it up as your eye sees fit. And I love the look of this wicking of the, you know, with no direct edges. And you'll see that. You can pull those edges out with water. They will not stay like this. You'll see that. I'm adding some more of this purple pink hue up there on the top. I still don't have any cloud distinctive marks yet. And then I am going to color all over those flowers. Here we go. Push it up, push it up, push it up. So you get the lines. Grab your paper towel right away as you're pushing up. It's a lighter blue. Get it up under there. And then, yep, grab some pink, keeping that stencil right there. Grab your yellow. We're going to cover that up eventually. And just work with that one line. And then add water to take away. Add color to add to. And I'm tilting it in what direction I want that color to flow. Then I'm pretty sure I will take some paper towel. I want you to really, yeah, I honed in right on it because I want you to see that once that line is dry, that water will not go down below it because it's dry. So it's nice. You can just work it with your heat tool and push it up, or you can work it with the water and just seep it so it goes out. You can see I'm working a lot of water onto here with the number 4 round. And I'm going to add my shading underneath here. I'm going to add some yellow, pounce it out where I don't want it, just add water. And I have to go around very carefully on this bird. You don't want to pick up any of that black, any of it. Get that heat tool going right away by your bird. And believe it or not, this end result is going to be so pretty. If you can let go of thinking everything has to be exact, if you can just let go of that and work with what you have there and not be afraid it's not going to look good, just work with it and then take it out if you don't like it with water. Whatever color. You can see there that was a little bit too gray for me. And I go in. I did use gray there, actually. I didn't mind that. And then I'm back on the yellow because I'm going to paint over those flowers, so it doesn't matter. I just need to look like some poofy clouds. I don't like my clouds to look, yeah, I'm going to cover my nest for now because I need to go back in. What I was thinking of there is uniform. I don't want them to look uniform. If you have a few puffy areas and then you have some of the water where it's, you know, you've got that, I don't know, with your heat tool, just blow it up and make sure it's not uniform, you know, so it's like bloop, 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 and then another bloop, 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 bloop. Just pack it on there and take it off with your paper towel. And the wicking looks beautiful. You can see right kind of to the left middle there, just on the top portion where it's just ran above because I tilted it to go out. It really does look pretty. And look at all the colors. I mean, yeah, I'll just put that there so that I can just tap off the water onto the paper towel. And see how I love that wicking look, where it has a wick to it, you know. It's kind of intense. You have to get in between the little mama's legs to get some yellow, or sorry, some blue color. Well, you can put yellow in there too. You can put any colors. But just so you have a few scalloped looks on the clouds, I think you'll really be happy and satisfied with the look. What you don't like I said, you're going to just go in and add some clear water, take it off, and put more color on. It's a process. Here's the mauve. And just going in with a light touch of color, being very careful with the, you can see that it did run on the leaf there. I'm going to pick it up with the brush, some clean water, and yeah, pinks. Oh yes, just lovely color. Go in there and take it off. You won't believe the difference. When you go back in and color these flowers, all my flowers are going to be in the gold hues. Gold and whites. You'll see how we do it there. You're really going to like it. Look how I put the blue down there. You're not even going to know that blue is on top of the flowers and the leaves. It's just to add some color in there to separate that limb, to separate the nest, and at the very end you can go back in and add anything you want. I do go back and fix around the lips of the baby birds. And I did go back and make that worm, as you can see, a little more like a worm looking thing. Like a little worm, you know, like I was going fishing. And yeah, I'm the kind of person, I don't mind putting worms on my fish hook, do you? And I'm going on the back. Oh yes, I'm blowing it dry from the back here. Just turn it over and blow it dry because it just helps with the paper warping. And this Bristol Smooth is beautiful to work with. It really is. Now I'll go clean it up with some dark colors. I'll get the lips, like I said, separated. I'm going to add some bright yellow to the lips. And I'm going to get that worm to look like a worm, put the little lines in it. This is just where I cleaned it all up and I made some distinction so that I could tell where the lips were. And I did that by adding some dark shades, that's all. And yeah, I was really happy with it. I really was. That's all you have to be, is just happy with your own work. It's, you know, not going to be hanging in any museum. It's just going to make me feel satisfied. So the next time I do a bird, there it is. Look at, yeah. I had, look at my water. That's about the 4th or 5th time. My acetate that I used, it's my 4th or 5th time of cleaning out the water. Then I'm going to go back, look at, I was working on the vellum, I was working on the acetate, I was working on the paint, actual paint board, where my paints were, everywhere I had a surface. Now I'm going to chop it down, yes, so that the colors are on here, sorry, the embossing is raised up and you don't see where I actually embossed it. And yeah, I am really happy with it, and I'm happy with the colors I chose to put behind it to bring this image forward. I was happy with that too. That's all you have to be, content with your own work. Guess now it's time to take a break for you, right? I'm starting on number 2. I get a nice fresh paper towel, and I'm using my black velvet brushes here. I'm going in with, okay, let me just stop here. I used the Ganze Tambi. Let's see, I used the Starry Colors. That's the golds, and this all golds actually with a white tone. And then I have that real inexpensive set of metallic paints, and it's beautiful. And I mean, it's inexpensive, like $9.99 or something. And then you use your coupon, which I know I probably did. And it's called on the back YASUTOM as in mother. Oh, Yazutamo paints. It's from Michaels, and it's the metallics. So I used that because it has 4 different colored greens in there. And then I used the Starry Sky from Ganze Tambi, the 6 color sets. But there's greens in the pearl colors, and there's also greens in the gem color. There's a green. So whatever set you have, whatever paint you have, you can always add perfect pearls to your flat paints, watercolors, to get a nice shiny, you know, sparkly color. Whatever you have in the stash. Your stash is your best friend. That's what I always say. So number one, I'm going around and doing all the leaves. I want to separate the leaves so I know how many flowers I have to work with. Then I want my leaves to be dry. So here I go. I'm actually putting in two colors. I know it doesn't look like it there, but there's two different colors in the leaves. And there's 3 different shaped leaves, believe it or not, in this die. It's a beautiful die, you know. And I have to say, it looks like an ocean upside down, doesn't it? Yeah. The bird is flying upside down on top of the ocean. Whoa, yeah, bunch of seaweed. Oh, I can see it all in there. So I don't know why I'm taking a little breather here for you that I didn't take that out. Oh, there's the set. Okay, I'm getting out my sets, trying to decide what I want to use. And I ended up using, like I said, the Starry Colors and the Gansey Tambi, and this wonderful. I love this set, and it's so inexpensive. It's so creamy. It's wonderful. I haven't even broke into those other colors. I am pretty sure the plastic is still on, all of them actually. But the pearl colors and the gem Gansey Tambis, I haven't even gone and colored with them. I am pretty sure I haven't. But we will use those for a different time, because that Michael set, look at that starry color. Oh, I'm breaking in to show you the Bristol. That's the plain Bristol. Then there's Bristol Smooth. There's the 100 pound, 96 pound, 140 pound watercolor paper. I don't know why I showed it again, but we will go with it right there. I think a little bit later here I show you the actual colors of the inexpensive metallic paints. I'm getting ready to use the set by Gansey Tambi, and there it is there. Yasumoto, I think it is. They come out easily here, but you just have to take your glue gun and put a glob underneath and they'll stay, but I don't use them enough to worry about that. I just put them back into place. Here's this setup I have going on there. Keep my brush over by, look at all the water, all the fresh water. And I just like this image. I'm satisfied with the coloring. I'm satisfied with the clouds for now. Well, I'm not changing it up, so I am. I'm just wetting down the golds here, what I'm going to use. I think I used every little palette in there, even the pearl white. And yeah, so here we go. I'm going back over to make sure all of the greens have a dark green to it. And let's start the flowers. They are so raised up. They are so crazy pretty. And I just make sure I separate each one of the golds, because this is the gold I'm putting in as the gold in my cards. You know how I like to put gold in there. And I didn't think it would look good to put them in different actual colors, you know, because I had the color in the clouds. I wanted the nest and the bird to really stand out, because that's my focal point. That is it. The clouds, you know, they're just secondary, and the flowers here, they just add to it. They're just the creme brulee of your meal, is adding these wonderful gold colors. And you know what else I could have done? I did a 4-sided card, by the way. That too is why it's so long. It's a 4-sided card. And that way you can change up your card. You don't have to do a front like this. You can grab any idea from the other 3 sides of this card if you want to replicate it and do one of your own. So you can mix up the golds too as well to get a different hue. Here I like the bronze color of it. I did skip over quite a bit. Obviously, I didn't want to bore you to death. I mean, it's an hour, 40 something minutes here, and I want to make sure I don't miss a flower, but if I did, I don't think it would hurt anything. And I like to do some of the centers darker than the outside. You know, it depends how much time you have to put into it. I did the stems gold to the leaves, and I was super duper happy when it dried. Look at that. I really like it. I love it. I love this stamp, I'll tell you that. And birds, I've said it before, birds and trees, I could paint all the time. And this is a Gina K design made for, I think it was the stamp of approval for, oh yeah, I need to have a little drink of my Coca-Cola, for Catherine Pooler's set one year. I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before. It's a beautiful set. And I'll show you what I used inside that set. You're going to love it. Yeah, and it was designed by Gina K for the stamp of approval. So here, you know, I am using my Gemini all the time. All the time. If I have more than a small die cut, I use this Gemini, especially for intricate dies. And I think we're moving on to the back now of the card. I didn't know where I was going to do my placement, but I did, you know, almost towards the end, I knew what I was going to do. I knew what dies I wanted to use. And this particular die, oh, I'm sorry. I was doing another embossing image. I was going to put that on the inside with just doing two sides of the card. Isn't that gorgeous? But I just wasn't comfortable with it. And another thing, it didn't emboss really deep for some reason. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know if I left a shim out. I have no idea. But it didn't emboss. So I did another one, and I set it aside because I was only going to do a two-sided card. I was going to do the front as this, and then I was going to do the inside with just that, you know, with the border. And here I'm trying, okay, I'm going to stop talking there. I'm trying to match up. I want to really lift this image up. So in my stash, I had this tree, metallic tree bark paper, and I loved it. I'm not going to show a lot of it, but you will see that it is this bark color. And this is the only piece I had in my stash. It came from a 12 by 12 pack. And here I'm trying to see, okay, do I want the pink? Do I want just the metallic? So I will cut it and leave quite a portion of it until I decide what other layers I'm going to use. And that's kind of how I work there. Come on, Carol, just, yeah, get it together and let's move on. Yeah. So I had the pink and the teal. I like that because it brought the color out. The pink did, certainly. I'll just keep cutting it until I'm satisfied. I liked the fact of having that craft cardstock. It's the Gina K Craft, I'm not sure what it's called. I'm showing you this because one of my subscribers asked me what this distress tool was, and it's a Stampin' Up one. There is a Tim Holtz one, but I think it's out of stock. I was looking for it to leave her a link, and I couldn't. It just kept saying it was out of stock, or they weren't making them. I don't know, but I do know this is a Stampin' Up one. I checked it for you if you're watching this tutorial, and you'll know who you are. Yeah, it's a Stampin' Up distress tool. I got it way back when. So then I saw this kind of pastel peachy thing going on, and so I thought, okay, will that match? And then I grabbed a black piece of foam and an orange piece of foam. I ended up using the orange. I'm pretty sure I did because I cut this too small. Watch this. It was just too short and wasn't enough for me to lift it up. I kind of boo-booed on it. So I moved over to the orange and put that, yeah, that wasn't enough for me. So it was just, okay, I'll use that black on something else. I'll cut this a little tad bit bigger and we'll go with that because these ones had the sticker back on them, the foam. They came with a ton of, it was from Walmart, and they had the foam backs. I love that because then I don't have to yeah, put any tape on both sides. I just use the one side. And that's a bright orange, isn't it? But you only see the, I'm trying to get it straight. By the time I get it straight, I'll probably have 2 by 2 inch piece of foam. Yeah, have you ever done that? Drives you nuts. So we'll get that down and working, and we're going to move on to how many layers I'm going to put on this card. Do you know, I looked all over my stash and I couldn't find navy blue cardstock. I used to have Night of Navy from Stampin' Up. I thought I had another package of it, but I don't have another package of it, so I have to get some of that in April when I'm doing my, you know, I'm not shopping yet. And here's my 6-inch roll of Suquang double-sided tape I love, but I only use it for special occasions. Yes, and I'll set that aside. You don't want to waste any of this stuff. It's not cheap to buy the roll, that great big honkin' roll. So, yeah, I try to use it sparingly. See how I have to cut it down here? But I will keep it. And I'm using the Tim Holtz scissors because they're Teflon coated. There's the one piece of close to a navy piece of paper I had. I couldn't believe it in my stash, but I love the texture in it. It's so pretty, and in real life it's a beautiful blue. It really brings the bluebird out, this blue, so I had to use it. So I'm just trying to think, okay, and I distressed all the edges too. I want to tell you that. You know me. Isn't that a beautiful piece of paper? Love the texture in it. This, I'm not sure where that came from, you know, with the texture in it. Probably Michael's or Hobby Lobby, somewhere in a package. And here I'm just slowly distressing the edges. Must have been tired here. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't speed that up. I'm just showing you that I distressed the edges and putting the image down. So I did the navy. I did that nice peach. I don't know. It's like a salmony color, and now I'm going to put this in the back. I lift it up and then lift the tape here so that I don't have to cut it again, you know. And yeah, it's beautiful. It sticks wonderfully. And then I put that down on here, but then I put it over top. My base is white. My 140-pound white cardstock is the base of my card, and then I did the craft cardstock. Here I'm pushing back. I want you to be able to see the bark paper. So all you have to do is take your bone folder or something with an edge and pull back that paper. You've already distressed the edges, so it really gives that nice vintagey distressed look. And then you will see the bark on the back of that paper, and I had to have that. Then I went into my stash and I grabbed this. It's not the Desert Storm, it's the one that's darker. I'll try and find it. I had a full pack of this. So I thought I'm going to do all 4 sides of the white cardstock with this because I have to have thickness. Even though my white card base is 140 pound, I still want that thickness. So I'm making my own card base here. I'm going to go measure it just a minute. White card base, when the card is finished, is 5 3/4 by 7. I do add a 1/2 inch gusset with 2 lines on it so that I have a 1/16 of an inch gusset on here. So I will make the 1/2 inch, then I'll move it over a bit and add another line to it when I am using my thingy dingy there. You know, I never can remember this thing. That I creased the fold, my folding creasy thing. And I moved over and decided to use out of my stash my orange tape. I can't remember using this in a long time, and I thought, come on, let's use this. This is Suquang, 1/16 of an inch. So you can see that I have the 1/16 of an inch, and then I think that's 1/4 of an inch. I'm not too sure. But the end result, I needed to have a little tiny bit of a gusset, and then a 1/4 inch, excuse me, did I say 1/2 inch? Just a 1/4 inch when I used my Martha Stewart. Getting close, aren't I? It's my scoreboard. It just came to me. I'm telling you, I am tired. I have been doing this voiceover all day, believe it or not. I just, you know, taking little breaks with Hunter, but Yeah, because when you're doing, if you do voiceovers, you know, you have to stop, go back, you missed this, you missed that, you didn't know the name of this, and yada yada. But anyway, let's continue. That's not your fault, that's mine. That I forget things, right? So here we go. I'm adding the craft, like I said, to my 140-pound white. And this is a nice thick craft paper. I love it. I use it sparingly because I love the color. You know how craft cardstock comes in so many colors. It's, you know, I like the Desert Storm, but I really like this one. It almost looks like a brown paper bag. It's so pretty. It just is a nice color to me. And then I know you're not going to see the craft on this because of the way, yeah, here I am. I'm going to cut this out, but I don't use it. I did cut it out. And I'll tell you why. My process was there was too many flowers. I mean, you can have too much color on a card. If you're going to do like I do, you know how all my cards are four-sided. And this die, I bought at Hobby Lobby years ago. I don't even know who made it. It is in, they have one section in Hobby Lobby. If somebody knows what dye this is, they have a ton of them this color at Hobby Lobby, and I don't know the name of it, in this gold color. You know, it's not the same as Spellbinder gold, it's a brighter gold color, and they have them hanging in one section at Hobby Lobby, and I really liked it. And I've only used it once, I think, if I did use it. And so I thought, I'm going to use it because it has the flowers and it has the leaves, it has everything that that image and the embossing folder had in it. Like it just stuck right out to me, and it's just 5 by 7. It's perfect. It really is. It's a beautiful, beautiful die. I just wish that I knew the name of it because I put it in a plastic pouch. When I bought it, I wasn't doing videos, so that tells you how far back it is. Isn't that gorgeous? That alone is gorgeous. I'm going to use it for ghosting. Yeah, that just didn't do anything for me. I had to think up something else. So I did 2 of them. I only used one, but I thought, you know what? While I'm die cutting, I'm going to do both of them. And then I'll figure it out later. So I did use it as a ghosting. Look how easy it is to get the guts out of here. There aren't too many intricate parts. It's just a nice, thick, full die. Love it. I really do. And if I can find out who makes this, yeah, I can think back to the day I bought it, and exactly, if I walked into Hobby Lobby, I could tell you right where it was hanging up. I think they sell them at Joann's as well. The same product line of that bright gold dyes in one certain section of the store. Oh, it just, yeah, it's pretty, isn't it? So if anybody has this, I would love to know the name of it. And then I'll move on. I do 2 white ones. Don't you love die cutting? And I love my Gemini. How I let that sit there for months without using it, I'll never know. I was afraid I wouldn't get my layers, you know, in the proper order, and I would wreck something. So, but it's easy to use. It really is. And so here you go. I'm going back and forth. What am I doing? I must be thinking. Now, what I did after I die cut these, I wanted the image of the flowers. I wanted the exact flowers in the flowers. Isn't that crazy? So what I did was, using the Gemini with the large, you know, base on it, I could do this. It won't fit through my Tim Holtz Vagabond, but it will fit through this wonderful, wonderful Gemini. I love my big Gemini. I have one to one side, one to the other. Yeah, 2 electrics on the go. So I made sure that the same pattern was on all of the flowers that is in that die, and you're going to love it. You could do a card with just this technique. Having this as the front of your card and then just put a sentiment, white on black, would look very nice on a card base. I just think it's beautiful. And then because I did the ghosting, because of the leaves, and I'll show you what I did too. I did something else that looked really pretty when I got finished. So you have to remember the middle has nothing, so you're working with the outside edge. So just watch all the different parts of your flowers, and it'll be easy peasy. It'll look lovely. Trust me, I was really happy with it. And it was so funny because I was thinking of doing it like a patina look, but I realized that the look I did isn't patina, because patina, it's like the greened out look on metal, you know, when it ages or gets water on it, dries, whatever. Here I just need the corner. See how I just need that one little corner? And it takes you a little bit of time, but it works out well. This is one of my Spellbinder dies that I've had forever. And I decided at the last minute, don't you love this green? This is a Stampin' Up! Cardstock from back in the day. So I decided to put all of them on there. Why not? Just go for it. I used this same green with the die as my ghosting effect. And then I just put all of these into place, every one of them. It's a 4-piece die from Spellbinders. I'll leave the, I don't have it right here with me, but I decided to do, oh, there it is. Did you see that? Yes, I can't even tell what it is. It's 5 by 7 anyway. You can see that on the white portion. So I put some tape on there to hold it, ran it through my Gemini, and I have all the gut pieces. And there's my, this is that tool, that Spellbinder tool thing I have there. That's that magnetized piece of foam. Look how everything comes right out and stays on the foam. That the gut pieces don't move until you touch it and flick it into your garbage can. I couldn't be without this, and it is made by I think, is that I'm sitting right here. It is my, yeah, Spellbinders 2-in-1. And then I wanted to make an extra piece here, 2 of them actually, so I could set one aside. I just ran it through my Altenew little die cutting machine because it was the smaller one. And yeah, now I'm going to pick out another watercolor pen. I have all different kinds. Altenew, in that set that I showed you, it comes with a watercolor brush. So just in case you wanted to know, if you order that, I ordered the extra pan case with the 36 colors, I think it is, with the Altenew watercolors. This is the Derwent brush I'm using here. What I do, I fill them all up when I put them away. They all have water in them. So when I go to grab one, I know they're all filled with water. I keep them full. I don't know if that's good and healthy for it, but it's the way I roll. I keep them all filled, and then I know, yeah, I just have to grab one. It's quick and easy. So here I did this. I started coloring them gold, copper, all these colors from out of this set. I used this Michaels set. And I went around with this for a little while because the white was showing, and yeah, I didn't like it. And I was doing the green for the leaves and, you know, just playing around until all of a sudden, look how creamy that is. Isn't it beautiful? The golds and the gold orange tones and the metallic looks, the greens are beautiful in this set, I'm telling you. Just so inexpensive. And then I grabbed a thicker brush and I started painting over it with different golds, right over top. Look at, I just went crazy painting like this. I didn't watch what right over top of everything that I had painted, the gold. It came out so pretty. In the pictures, I hope it shows exactly how nice it is. Now this is after I did some painting of the flowers, of course, but I just went crazy, like with different lighter colors in here. I did some yellow golds, copper golds, gold golds, yellow golds, whatever was in here, the greens, and I kept going over. Then, while it was wet, I took my gold Wow embossing powder and put it over a coffee filter, and just in certain sections, moving up, I just sprinkled on the gold embossing powder, took my heat tool right away because it stuck to the water, and what a wonderful look this gave this one die. I'm telling you, if you take this dye in the white and you do this with your watercolors, then you add some, this is where I'm deciding to grab, I think, the Wow embossing powder. Then you grab another color to ghost the background, like this really nice deep green. And you can see how I'm adding it there. I was so satisfied with this, and I think it was the paint set that made me think to just go crazy. I didn't want it to be detailed like the front. I wanted it to be totally different, and I add this to the back of the card. And I really do love the card, and I'm going to add this embossing to the envelope when I mail it out to somebody. I'm going to emboss the front of the envelope with that vintage embossing folder. And look at, I'm heat setting the gold Wow embossing powder. Now, I'm trying to get you to see where that gold, where it was. It hit all of the deep edged lines. See that? I know it looks like the gold watercolors, but it isn't. You can tell. It went in all the grooves, and oh my, it was so pretty. And then when I set it down here, one of the leaves broke off because I used too much water on it. And it was, see where it broke off right there? On the left, far left. I loved that. So I took the leaves off in the middle, and I took the leaves off on the lower right, so that I had 3 bright green, or well, it's deep green leaves showing on this die cut. You're going to love it. Wait till you see this. It was wonderful. See how the leaves, then you want to ghost it, pull it over. See the one there? Down, not in the middle, but to the lower left middle kind of. And then the right bottom. I cut it right off so that you saw the leaves in its true leaf form. How's that? Isn't that pretty? Oh, I just loved this. I don't know why I was thinking it looked like a patina look. It has a look all to its own. It's just, I don't know. It just is a carefree, painted look. Yet it's so pretty with this die cut. The die cut makes it. You know, look at that. And then I made, look at, with that craft cardstock. Isn't this perfect? Now, I put it right here. I was going to put the sentiment to the left and have this on the right. But I needed to glue it down. Now, you know what I used? I used my fabric glue because it had a real detailed point on it. I got this at Michael's, and the name of it is Tulip Applique Bond. But I want you to be careful when you buy this. This does not dry clear. It dries with that, you can see it down there? It dries with that wet look. So if you're going to use this Tulip glue, know that it doesn't dry clear. And then I liked it on the back. I just liked when you flipped it over, it was that look of the flowers embedded in there. And flip it over, Carol. You do all that work and then you glue it down upside down. Oh, I would have a nervous breakdown right on the YouTube channel. Yeah, if I did that. Yeah, I've made some pretty terrible mistakes like that, and I didn't want to do it today. So isn't that nice and clean looking? Then I thought, okay, maybe I'll put this on the outside. And what I did is I lifted up each layer, right? Well, no, let me just tell you, I lifted the outside and then not the inside. Then I lifted up the next layer and then not the next layer. You'll see how I did it. I'm just trying to think, okay, what am I going to do here? Isn't that a pretty die? Ah, I just love it. But I had some work to do with this. And another, they just, I don't know, I love the look of this with every single die fitting into itself. Yeah, it's so pretty. So here we go. I'm going to add some of the tulip glue here. I got to make sure it's all coming out. You can see that I did not go over to the edge, so I was pretty safe at putting this down. Only, you know what mistake I made? I got a paper towel, put it on top, and just pressing it too firm. I do press things too hard. It oozed out on the bottom just a little bit, but that's okay. If I had left it like that and let it dry, it was the towel. Sorry, I must have just getting in an email. It's the towel that made it ooze out. See how I'm pulling it down to the bottom? Don't do that. Yeah. And it had just a little bit. I'm trying to take it off there. But you know what? Yeah, it's not that bad. Now I want to shadow this like the sun is coming in from the upper left. So every line, like every lined image here, to the right, I am going to take a Copic marker, and the marker that I used with this, let me turn on the light here and see if I can get the color for you. It is an E23. Well, let me just make sure here that I have the right color. It's Baked Clay, E99. This one, I'm pretty sure it's Baked Clay, E99. And see how I'm going down the right side of all of the lines, the basic line shapes here on the ghosted green. It dries into it wonderfully. And I'm going so fast that I can't tell. I'm going to stop it right here so I can see what number that is. I slowed it down a bit. It's E35. It's not, but you know what? I think the E99 would have worked nice too because it's nice and dark. But it was the 3.5 that I used. Here I'm grabbing the Suquang tape to start taping something down here. Oh, it's the backs of all of the, the card stock, the craft. Instead of putting my ATG gun, I guess I decided, okay, oh, just on this one. I think it was that. I think I used the ATG on the inside craft pieces, the other 3 portions, but I wanted to make sure nothing happened to the front. I wanted to make it super extra sticky. And there you have the back done. It's got that beautiful shadow look with the E35 Copic marker. And now we're going to put this right there. Isn't that so pretty? It really is. It just matches up the ghosting green on that die cut. I took out the 1/2 butterfly with the half wing out of this set, and I took the sentiment out of this set, and you're looking at it right there. Yeah, I have the card over here. I'll read it to you in just a minute. But here I wanted to make sure I just had this one piece. I was down to one piece of this blue, and I had enough to cut it out and use it on the inside portion of this green die. I was so excited. And see how sometimes it's good to keep these pieces, you know, when it's down to your last color of the navy. I really, really loved this. And I got pretty close to cutting it, didn't I? Yeah, I put it on the inside using the tulip. I didn't mind because it was on the inside edge. Then I put this piece down. Make sure that you have, if it has bumps, that the bumps are sticking up where you want them. It's like an embossing folder. It'll either be embedded down or up. And here we're going to fit them in. This is where I decided to lift it up. So the second piece with my Doris strips, because these are nice and thin. And I didn't even make a shaker out of it. Are you wondering? Oh my, she didn't even make a shaker. No, I didn't. I just went with it. I just took these off, and this is going to be the inside of my card. I love doing 4-sided cards. I don't know why I do. People have asked me, why don't you just do a sentiment on the inside? I can't. I have to fill everything in. And that one I did down. And then when I get to this center piece, yes, I'm going to add the Suquang tape. It's hard to see there, isn't it? Yeah. When I get to that, I'm going to add that half butterfly that you see there with gold, of course, with my Wow Gold Embossing Powder. And there it is. So pretty. It fits perfect. I mean, butterflies with flowers and a bird and little birdies and a nest and trees of wood and bark and branches. Just goes together. I'm just explaining why I put a butterfly there. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Boy, Carol, you have a wide imagination. Oh, yes, I do. So there it is. I'm kind of setting it even down. I love my stamp press. I love this. I couldn't be without this stamp press, actually. I just love it that much. I have another one still in the package because I fear something would happen to this. So here we go. I put some of my LDRS Creative watermark on there. It's just like, yeah, it's for using your embossing powder. I didn't put any powder down, but I didn't have too many. I'm fixing, this is an old, I mean a cheap, inexpensive brush. So I cut it on a slant so I could get in all the nooks and crannies and watch. Isn't that the exciting part? Boom, I have a gold butterfly. Then the Doris strips to pick this up. Is this not so crazy pretty? This Spellbinder set is wonderful. I've never used it before. And there it was, just screaming, use me, use me. And the navy with the green, yowzer, beauteous. There's the sentiment. Stop, Carol. Oh, I couldn't even get it. I'm going to have to get up and get that sentiment. You can see the beautiful. I love the font. It is a beauteous font. So I have the bottom layer down, the next layer raised up, the next layer down, and the center raised up. It is elegant. It is pretty. This would make a card front on its own. It really would. And then put the sentiment that I used that round sentiment in there. Oh, it's stunning. But I did make a mistake, and I'm going to show you what I did to straighten that up. And literally straighten it up. So you know it was crooked, right? Let's take the back off that, get it centered on the inside portion of the card. I think the craft, the green and the navy and the gold is wonderful. It's very pleasing to the eye, isn't it? So nice. I was so happy. With each layer, honestly, it was just sheer joy to create this card. I can't wait to create the envelope. See how it just has that lift and so different, you know, when you open it up, there's the bird, you open it up, you have the butterfly, nothing too, you know, too much. And then the back matches the front because it is the right, it's the same embossing folder, even though it's a different die completely, but I think it does flow. And that's what I try to do. Now there it is with the round. Oh, I love this. I think this is so crazy elegant. And I'm going to put the sticky ink on there. I think I used the Nouveau Clear Mark embossing pad. First I grabbed my baby powder. I keep this in a chili jar that I got at a thrift store. Then I put some tape on the top and just poked little holes through it to get out small amounts. Love the smell of baby powder. Took this dollar store where nothing's a dollar brush and wiped it out. And I know nothing is going to stick on this because this is quite detailed. It's very pretty and I did not want little dots all over the place. So I was very careful with this. Now I'm giving it a good firm press. Look at that on the craft. Oh my, I loved it. And this is the Wow Gold embossing powder. I'll leave which color that is. I think I have it right here. Let me just, it is Wow Metallic Gold Rich. WC04R. That is it in a nutshell. Look how it dries on that craft cardstock. Oh, so pretty. Now here, I grabbed the, let me grab it. It's a Wow product as well. And I wanted to put this sentiment. It is Vintage Peacock. I love this Vintage Peacock. I remember the day I got it last year. And the thing is, I didn't put a measuring line on it. No, this is my LDRS Creative wet ink. And it was crooked. Yes, but I was so glad it was. I really was. This mistake was a good mistake because I ended up cutting, I had a round circle die that was the exact shape of this stamp. It didn't come with it, but you know, it's one of my old circle dies I got right at the beginning 6 years ago of this voyage, this craft creating voyage. There it is. And the gold and the peacock. Does the peacock have a number? It should. WS49R. And it was so crooked, it was crazy. So what was I doing? Oh, I did it in gold, and then I thought I don't want it in gold, so I wiped it out. I think I show you how I wiped it out. I just took a soft paper towel, and then I went back in again, and there's where my mistake was here when I did this again. It was crooked. I wasn't watching. You can see on the bottom there. I hope you can see it. It goes up. See how it just goes up a tad? I couldn't deal with that. I didn't like it at all. So once I had it like that, I thought, oh no, look at that. Maybe if the person holds it on a slant, it'll be fine. But I got out my Tim Holtz ruler. No, I can't deal with that. So I got out another piece of craft cardstock. Yes, everything is fixable. And then I stamped it again. I hope that's coming. Yeah, I measured to make sure I had the proper size circle. And when you're dealing with circles and you have one circle die set, you're pretty well in. You can make it work. And I wanted those dots to show too, which was wonderful that it did. I took my Fiskars stamp press that I can't live without, stamped it back out in the corner of this wonderful cardstock because I only have one package of it and I don't want to, I want to be really, 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 really careful because I'm not shopping until April 1st. If I do shop then, because I am finding a lot of things I really like and I haven't used, and I'm going to continue to do that. Look at that. It worked out well. Look at this. And then I just die cut that center out right on the top ridge. It worked out perfectly. I get my ruler, yes, and I make sure that it's, on the T of my grid of my Tim Holtz glass mat. And I took the Tim Holtz ruler, and this one, I put a pencil mark, and it is perfect. Right on. Oh, I couldn't have been happier. If I don't smudge it with my hand, isn't that Peacock Wow embossing powder gorgeous? Love that too because it matches the navy. It has the navy little specks in there. Look at that. And it shines and glitters, and it's beautiful. I'll get you the saying on that. Then I just take my white click eraser. I love this. I got it at my BD Stationery. And then I just had the S on the end. I just had to clean that up a little bit. The sentiment is so pretty. I ran this through my small little 3-inch die cutting machine by Altenew. And I love having this right off to the side because it's so quick and easy. You can tell I'm trying to practice on that because it's so lazy for me to say cuz. No, it's because. Then I will clean up the edge just a bit. Look it. That's the perfect circle, and it didn't even go with the stamp set. And it reads, it reminds me of how beautiful my world is. And I wish it had said that the world is, or our world is, because I know God created the world. It's not my world. He put me in the world that he created. And, but it, it's a nice sentiment. So I put it down on there because I know that it is the world that the Lord created. And I am so, what is not to love about birds and butterflies and nature? It's just mind-boggling that we have the privilege to enjoy all of the beauties. And then I take out a paper towel. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, make sure that this gets on there straight. I raised it up with the Doris little, it just made me laugh. I thought, can you imagine doing all that work and then putting it down crooked? Yeah, isn't that just elegant, raising it up like that? That was a mistake. That was wonderful. That was a happy mistake. That was Bob Ross. There's just happy accidents, isn't there? Thank you, Mr. Ross. That is so true, a happy accident. I love that. I love watching Bob Ross. He is the painter that I do watch. Oh, yeah, let's not get on that. And there it is, my friends. That is the card for today. Hope you enjoyed the process of this watercolor card. I hope it was inspiring. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for your comments. You have yourself a blessed week, and I'll see you on the next tutorial. Bye, everybody. Take care.